Welcome to Swinger University, your horizontal enrichment program. Slip into something more comfortable. It's class time. Here are your hosts, Ed and Phoebe.
Hi, this is Ed.
And this is Phoebe.
Today we're covering a lot of ground for Halloween 2021.
Yes, we're a little behind. But
we're a little behind. Well, we're behind in our episodes because so much stuff has happened in the last couple months. So we're not really behind. We're just catching up, so to speak. We're going to talk about some swinger dynamics, a no condom incident, a gallant introduction, the fabulous 4 a.m. foursome, inappropriate touching, a swinger orgy with a tens unit. That's exciting. And our adventures took us to 3 completely separate parties. One was a house party and 2 others were a 2-night hotel takeover party.
Yes, where the crowd changes.
Right, because some people could only come for one night. But before we start on that sexy topic, Phoebe and I want to ask you for your help. Our goal this year, it's actually New Year's for us, so our New Year's resolution, if you will, is to grow our audience. We want to reach more people with our show, and you can help us to do that. Here are a few ways that you can help.
1, rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. 2, post a link to your favorite podcast on your social media. 3, tell another swinger about our podcast and ask them to check us out. 4, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.
So we're expanding our social networking, and we want you guys to help us with that. So if you can, tell a friend, spread the news, and we're hoping to grow our listener base.
And if you scroll down, you'll find all of our social media in our notes.
And we make it easy for you. We really appreciate all of our listeners, and we appreciate all the support that you give to us and our podcast. Enough business. Let's talk about Halloween.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. Events in our area really opened up late summer and fall after people were feeling a little bit safer post-vaccine. House parties were happening a few more times a month. You did have those house parties that were doing it regardless of COVID.
Right.
But they started to pick up once vaccines started to come out and become available to our age group. And our local promoter, Lures, did not disappoint for Halloween.
Yeah.
And people were itching to get out to these big takeover parties because they're so great.
Well, and they're big events in a normal year, and in this particular year, people were even more bottled up.
Yeah.
They just really wanted to get out.
Anxious to get out and do shit.
Stuff.
So our first Halloween party was at our favorite unicorn, our single corn, as we call her.
Yeah.
She loves throwing parties. She's really good at it. And she had a Halloween house party. And Ed and I were superheroes for this party. Ed was Spider-Man. I was Harley Quinn.
So we did mix, I understand, we mixed DC and Marvel. That's okay. Because we looked good.
We did look good. I was the cheerleader Harley Quinn with black and red and the hair black. One side was black, one side was red. Yeah. Socks, black, red, everything black, red, black,
super
red.
Sexy.
It was super hot.
Yeah.
So fun. And I wore a butt plug that night, a glowing, lit up butt plug.
Blinky one, even.
A blinky, yes. Blinky if only butts. It had a remote.
Oh, yeah, that would have been cool, too.
Mm-hmm. A vibrating remote, that would have been.
That would have been double.
Yeah.
Double fun.
Yeah. Okay. So we get there. And, she has a door guard, checks names and makes sure people, leave without, being too intoxicated. And he did a great job. So we get there and there's great music. There's dancing, food, always food, great food. And of course,
great conversation.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
All kinds of new people there, people we hadn't seen before, and some great costumes. Mm-hmm. She had a great costume that
she was
sort of lasted for about 5 minutes.
She was a mummy, wasn't she?
She was a mummy.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I think she was wrapped. Was it toilet paper or tissue?
It was a cloth wrapping of some sort, but it was.
It kept falling apart or falling off.
Let's just say those boobs would not be contained.
No, they would not be contained. She's so cute, and she kept pulling it up, and it kept falling down, and so she's,
She tried her best.
Yes, she was basically naked most of the night, which was fabulous.
I hated it. It was terrible.
So that was fun. People did have some fun costumes. Your costume was great and super sexy because it was skin tight and you could basically see everything.
Right. The full package.
Oh yeah. Lots to grab, and then of course it was silky, so it was fun to touch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You were fun to touch. Body parts were fun to touch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There was a lady in the red dress. She was me the second night. Gosh darn it. Oh, Jessica Rabbit. Yes, there was a Jessica Rabbit there. So I was thankful I didn't wear the costume that night because I wore it at the hotel party.
Right. So you timed your costumes just right.
I did.
So
I did.
No duplicate costumes. Although there was another Harley Quinn there, but she was a different version of Harley.
Yeah, she was like more the all-American t-shirt, red, white, and blue Harley Quinn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Daddy's little monster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, we're socializing, we're having conversation in the kitchen. And there's a new couple there, and we're talking with them, and Ed is engaged a little bit more with them. I was kind of flitting around, and I was snacking and flitting, and I'd periodically come back and check in. And then all of a sudden, this woman of the couple, you could tell she was intoxicated because she kept repeating herself.
Yes.
And making accolades and comments and things, and I'd say thank you, and she kept repeating herself. You could just tell. All of a sudden, and she was making a comment on one of my dresses from
our profile.
Going on and on and on about it. I'm like, okay, thank you. And then it started to get a little uncomfortable. And then all of a sudden, she started a comment on my hair and my current outfit. Now, here's my hair. My hair is in 2 ponytails high on my head, and I have red colored spray on one side and black colored spray on the other. Now, the spray is really sticky, and it's kind of hard.
Yes.
But sticky. All right. So my hair's not soft and silky. All of a sudden, out of the blue, she goes, "Oh my God, your hair is just so cute." And she reaches over and she grabs my ponytail and she yanks my head to the right. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so now her hand is kind of caught in my hair a little bit. I look at her like, what the fuck? What? I'm confused.
Why did you think this was a good idea?
What? Yes. First, 1, why did you think this was a good idea? 2, how did we transition from, oh my God, he's so cute, to wham, neck injury, right?
Right.
I was like, okay, it's time to back away. They are on the no list for the night. Check. Possibly in the future. I'm like, what the hell was that all about? Very aggressive. Oh my God, she was very aggressive. And so Anyway, the night continues, and people started heading upstairs, right?
Yeah.
Exciting things started to happen.
Yes.
So everyone starts to go upstairs, and she must have had 3 or 4 playrooms, and one of them was her master bedroom, which was massive.
Right.
But everyone was crowded in this small bedroom. Why? Because the guy with the tens unit was in there. There must have been, 20 people in this tiny little bedroom.
Yeah.
So, of course, we're all in there watching what's going on. People are making noises and yelping and screaming and giggling and making fun orgasmic sounds. And so I'm like, I have to see what's going on. So, guy with the tens unit, was he standing on a pad? Explain how this works.
He was touching it with one hand, and so one of his hands was passing the current through.
And so then he would transfer it from person to person, and then whoever touched
anybody who touched them.
Right.
Yeah.
So then people were touching body parts and getting off on clitoral zapping and nipple zapping and kissing, and there's a bunch of laughing and teasing, and people tried me to get in there, and I'm like, oh hell no, I don't want to be zapped. I don't want my clit zapped. I don't want my nipple zapped. No. But people were having a very good time. Very, very good time. So, good grief, that must have been going on for, oh my gosh, I don't know, 20 minutes, half hour.
Yeah.
People were having a really good time. I was surprised how much of a good time they were having with that. But they loved it.
Oh, yeah.
And then people started playing around the edge. So people started fucking around the edge of the bed. Mm-hmm. Some people started fucking at the top of the bed.
A little bit, yep.
And so I started feeling frisky, and I decided to, I don't know, how did you get naked? At some point I was giving you a blowjob. How did this happen?
We had actually been playing in another room. There was an orgy room going on, so there was another whole group in the master bedroom.
We were in there. That's right.
And there was like lots of oral going on. There was, if I remember right, this is where we met the other stripper. This was our third stripper that we had met.
And it was a male this time.
And it was a male stripper.
Oh, he was sexy.
Yeah, Phoebe had a little fun with.
Oh, he was hot. Oh,
Mr. Male
I did
stripper.
have fun with him. I fucked his brains out.
You kind of broke him. You kind of wore him out.
I did wear him out.
Which was pretty hot.
Yeah, that was hot. I felt pretty good about that.
Yeah. And we'd had some fun on the bed, and there was definitely lots of playtime going on with multiple people.
Yeah.
There was
some oral between women.
Oral. There was a squirter. There was a girl who was like super, super active, and like you just had to barely touch her. I had a little fun with her.
I gave someone some oral in that room.
You gave a few people some oral in that room. And and so there was a lot of fun that had happened in that first orgy room. Mm-hmm. So we had stripped most of our costumes off, and we were already
and we were just walking around
kind of naked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I had Spider-Man around my waist at that point because it's a one-piece suit and it's big zipper. Anyway, so that explains how we were naked.
So that happened first. So fun.
Good time was had by all.
Yes.
And we ended up in the smaller room with the tens unit.
Right.
And I'm standing in the doorway.
I decided to go down on it.
Right.
And give him a blowjob, which was so amazing. So we're basically standing at the door because it's so crowded.
Room only.
Yes. And so I'm giving Ed head. And the couple downstairs that broke my neck, the woman that broke my neck, she was standing right next to Ed, and she's going off, and she's like saying stuff, and then I don't know what happened. She said something stupid. Oh my God, thank you. All of a sudden, the hand, like a snake,
again,
crosses across her body, whoosh, strikes my head. She grabs both ponytails this time.
Right.
Because I'm kneeling down. She's above me. So she grabs both ponytails, wraps them around her hand, and yanks my head. And I stop. So my mouth, now Ed is large. My mouth is small. So I have to be very careful with my teeth. So I stop immediately because my first thought is, don't fuck up Ed's dick.
Yeah, because the last thing that I want is Phoebe to get jostled and chomped down on my cock in the middle of a blowjob.
This is dangerous.
So I don't know what she's thinking in the first place. I'm not appreciating her interrupting this at all.
So that's my first thought. So I just freeze. I freeze with my mouth. And then, you know, Ed pulls out, and then I'm like, get her the fuck off me. I'm like screaming, get the fuck off, get the fuck off. I am pissed now. Like, what the hell? I am so mad.
Right.
So now she's trying to remove her hand, which is pulling my head more. Ed is trying to unwind her hand from my hair like a rope knot, right? Like your necklaces have gotten tied and twisted. This is what it felt like. He's trying to remove her hand from my hair.
It was a mess.
It was a hot mess. I stood up. I swear I wanted to punch her in the face. But she was a big girl, so I knew I would have lost, and she was intoxicated. But I could have won if I was a little more... I was the more sober one than her. But who knows? I don't know.
Totally not worth it.
It was not worth it, and that's not me anyway. But I felt like it.
Yes.
Oh, my God. My neck hurt for about 3 or 4 days after that. It was not fun. I was so angry. And so now, actually, after listening to Mixed Nuts podcast, the misses on there, I don't know if I can say their names because I don't know if they're totally out, but Mrs. Nuts, I could totally relate to some of her perspective on, you know, when she gets angry, she's like, I'll cut you. You are on the no list. And I'm like, yep, totally get it.
Yep. They definitely kind of blew it. For us,
yeah. I don't understand.
Bizarre.
I mean, there's not much to understand. I mean, she had an aggressive nature. It came out with whatever drugs or alcohol she was using. I get it, but holy cow, I've never had anyone like touch me in that way. That was just weird.
Yeah, it was very strange. And that wasn't the end of kind of the weird behavior for people at this particular party.
Oh, yeah.
We had some friends who we've met a couple times at different parties, different house parties. They're relatively new to the lifestyle.
Super sweet
couple, very sexy.
Younger.
Great people. They had somebody like slip a condom off and have sex with them like out of the blue, didn't know what was going on. All of a sudden they're like, wait a second, something's not right here.
Or she grabbed his penis and shoved it inside her. It was close enough. Something.
There was some
unprotected.
Yeah. And they were not happy with that, prepared for that.
No.
And like I said, relatively new and like just starting to figure out the lifestyle. And then something like this happens.
Super freaked out. They have young kids. So, you know, you're in that mindset. You're like...
Bad things can happen.
Right? I'm a parent. I have young kids. I need to be around for them. And so, you know, I'm not going to have this hobby ruin my health and, you know, my family. Yeah.
So they left upset.
Oh, yeah.
We left shortly thereafter because we were a little... PO'd because of the whole hair pulling incident.
Twice.
Our evening wasn't ruined, and we hadn't heard the details about what had happened with them until later.
Right.
But it was a weird night, and
it was great, but then it was weird.
Yeah. There was a lot of drinking going on there, and we'd noticed a few couples that were pretty hammered.
Yes.
Which was a little unusual. We don't usually see that many couples like really hammered.
Yeah.
And
I think it was just because, you know,
Halloween,
it's Halloween.
People
are like, yeah, party. I know.
So house party 1 in the bag. we still had a good time. It was a lot of fun in the orgy room for sure. We had fun dressing up, of course. Who doesn't like to dress up?
Right.
And with the exception of the hair pulling, we had a good time.
Mm-hmm. So the second Halloween party was at Allures. They had 2 nights that they rented the hotel ballroom.
Right.
The first night was a pajama party, and then the second night was Halloween. This is where Ed was Roger Rabbit and I was Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah, we figured out a way to do it so that I wasn't some dorky costume.
Yes.
You know, Roger Rabbit's, he's not the
goofy.
sexiest guy.
No.
Roger's kind of a dork.
Right.
And it always bothers me with men's Halloween costumes that the guys end up looking like walking dildos. I just don't get why no one comes up with sexy men's costumes.
You're either Hef or you're a dork.
Yeah, you're
You're a SpongeBob.
Right.
Yeah.
Just dumb.
Yeah, I know.
Dumb costumes.
So you had a bow tie,
Yes.
suspenders.
Yes. Red pants.
Oh, red, sexy, tight
Fitting
red
pants. Mm-hmm. So I had all the right colors and gloves and everything for Roger, but I was like a hip, sexy Roger.
Oh, yeah.
Which was kind of fun.
It was super sexy. Yep. And then, Jessica Rabbit. With the wig. I had the wig too, so that really helped.
And Phoebe nailed Jessica. I mean, I nailed Jessica later, but Phoebe definitely has the figure for Jessica Rabbit. She is Jessica Rabbit.
I had the sparkly nylons and the red sparkly shoes. It was so good.
Everything. Just perfect figure for it. Just,
it was
juicy.
Fun. That's bad.
So hot. I've always wanted Phoebe to dress up as Jessica Rabbit, and she did it. And I was very happy about the whole thing. All right.
Pre-parties.
Yeah.
Pre-parties. It's all about the pre-parties and the post-parties. In fact, we never wind up in the playrooms that they provide anymore.
Not anymore.
We're always just in people's rooms, which is great.
And we had like 3 or 4 pre-party invitations, and we ended up in like 2.
Yeah.
And they were meet and greets. They were just, come in, shake hands,
eat,
hugs
snack.
and kisses. Mm-hmm. Off we go.
Sometimes there's some playing pre-party.
Sometimes there's pre-party playing, but in this particular event, there wasn't.
Right.
And we ended up in one of the pre-parties with a good friend of ours. We've known her for years, and we knew her from her previous relationship, but now she's in a new chapter in her life.
Yes.
And she had a bunch of her friends that were there. And somehow in the middle of this, we ended up... something came up about podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't remember how it came up, but...
Yeah, she's like... I don't know. A light bulb went off in her head. Something about your voice.
Well,
I think.
I showed her our card at when she started talking about podcasts and, good podcasts to recommend. And she said something about Swinger University and that she loved Swinger University.
Oh.
And
then Ed's like, all right.
I'm like, forget it. I gotta whip it out on this.
We're coming out.
So I pulled the card out and I showed it to her, and she was like, oh my God. So we've known her for a while.
Yeah.
We've talked to her over and over again for years. Mm-hmm. She didn't know. Mm-mm. She listened to our podcast. Mm-hmm. She knew us, but she didn't make the connection. Mm-mm. And then she made the connection when she saw the card.
Yeah, it was kind of fun.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's you guys.
It was great.
It was
fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Which of course brings up the whole, like, how secret is your secret identity, really?
Yeah.
And how secret do we need to be?
Yeah.
With the whole thing. And so...
Yeah. We're relaxing a little more this year with it, and we're feeling a little more comfortable. I remember 8 years ago when we started this, we were my God, just even keeping the secret that we were swingers was scary.
Right.
It was almost like, the first time you have sex, probably as a woman, you think that there's this big neon sign across your forehead that says non-virgin, right? I lost my virginity last night. You just think you look and feel different than it. Someone's just going to know by looking at you.
Right. Which of course they can't.
No. But that's how I felt. I thought I was 16 again, losing my virginity. Yes, at 16. I was kinky back then. But now it's probably earlier. It's at 13. Everyone's losing their virginity at 12 and 13. But
whole other topic.
Yes, that's a whole other. Yes. So where was I?
So coming out.
Lost. Oh yes, coming out. So, catch-22. I don't want people to feel uncomfortable, and I don't want them to feel intimidated, and I don't want them. I just want them to feel comfortable.
Right. And we've kept our identity secret for some reason. Not exactly sure. I don't think we ever sat down ahead of time and said we need to do it for these reasons.
Right. It's just, I don't know, it was just part of keeping the secret. And, we're not boastful people. We're not like, hey,
right,
we have a podcast. Come listen to us. So, for the last 2 years, we've just quietly been marketing ourselves online. We haven't really been saying it to anyone at any of the parties.
Not a word. Like,
other than allures, we put up the banner and we have handouts and stuff to get people to listen to the podcast. But we're not walking around with T-shirts and signs going, yeah.
Nobody knows that it's us at these parties, but they know that Ed and Phoebe are at these parties because we talk about the parties. People have made the connection that, oh my God, we've been to those parties too. We were probably at the same party. We may have even met you, but of course they don't know who we are, so they don't know that they've met us. But this was the first event where we were kind of like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just... Because they already know we're swingers.
You're right.
By the way, listeners, we're swingers. If that wasn't clear before.
Right.
So... The people who listen to the podcast, if they happen to be at one of the events, they already know that we're swingers. They know that we go to the event, so it's...
Right. I just don't want to scare people away because, people will ask, oh, you going to talk about this? And I go, yeah.
But
I am. Not all of it, not in the same podcast, and I never use names. And sometimes I change the scenario or the situation. So... Yes. You never really know unless you were there. You never really know, and even then,
if you may not connect what the story is with your particular involvement in that story,
depending on the level of detail. Yep, or very clever with those.
We try to be. We think we're very clever. No one said, "Oh my God, you totally called us out that time."
Right? Because again, I'm trying to protect people.
Well, and we don't ever want to call people out. We've heard podcasts where they like, oh my God, they like flambe people.
Oh,
and we're totally not into that. Like,
I wish I could call them out right now.
Well, there's a few of them, but yeah, we're not gonna. That. That's not us. Okay. We don't do that. We don't flambe.
Just in private. No.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Did you
hear blush a little bit at people who actually do that and podcasters who do that. So this was the first event where we kind of came out of the closet a little bit and started going, you know what? We're just going to kind of own it. Yep. And in and we'll talk about this for New Year's, but when we have come out to other people are like, oh my God, you are going to talk about this, right?
Yeah, some people want us to, which is funny.
People
They're like,
really want us to talk about it. They want to be able to like listen back and go, oh, I want to hear all the details again.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's kind of fun to, and you get to hear it from a different perspective.
Yeah, you get to hear how good you were in bed from a totally different perspective, which is kind of fun.
Oh.
So there you go.
Lots of connections made. We didn't play at that pre-party, but it was relatively early.
Yeah. And we circulated and we mingled and we saw people and met people, and it was a lot of fun. It was the PJ parties tend to be a very relaxing environment and tend to be a very connection meet and greet kind of an environment, which is fun.
Right. Yeah. We didn't play with anyone at the pajama party.
Not that
It was an earlier night for us, but made good connections. Yep. Which leads us into the next night,
where we'd made some connections and we decided to call those connections in.
Oh, we did. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we get downstairs. I'm wearing Jessica Rabbit, and Ed is Raja. And so we get into the room, to the ballroom, and people really did.
They always go all out.
Oh, they did such. I feel like they did better this year. Even
the costumes were great. Less scary, more sexy this time.
Yes,
I think there were a few scary costumes, but there was a lot of much more sexy costumes, which we really appreciate. I mean, I'm all in favor of scary costumes for Halloween,
right?
But at a swinger event, I want to be turned on, not
freaked out.
Yeah.
Right.
Inspire the erection. Don't frighten it away.
Right. So at what point did this next scenario happen? Because I want to describe what that was.
Yeah.
So right away, it feels like it was right away.
Pretty early in the evening. Okay. So when we first arrived at the hotel the night before, we had pulled into the parking lot, and I had seen a threesome kind of walking up to their cars. Mm-hmm. They had left one car and they were dropping stuff off, and they were obviously had just checked in and were just checking in.
You know you're a swinger when you're scoping out people in the parking lot from your 3rd-story balcony in your hotel room.
And you know that they're swingers because there's 3 of them, and there's obviously something kinky going on between 3 people. So you're like, oh, they're here at the party as well.
Right.
So that was the first introduction to them. Very sexy group.
Uh-huh.
And we were kind of watching them. Turns out they were on the same floor as us, a couple doors down.
Yep.
So we were neighbors, which was great. Mm-hmm. And we'd talk to them again at the pajama party later that night, and that was fun. We'd kind of made a connection. It was clear that there was some mutual attraction at the very least.
But
so the next night, I got a wild hair and decided I'm going to take our advice and walk up to this couple and just put it out there that, hey, we're interested in playing with you guys later if you're interested too. And they said, absolutely.
Wait, what? Where's my story part?
That was the story.
That is not the story.
Well, what
you missed the good part. So we walk into the ballroom. Dun, 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 dun.
You want to do the whole build-up?
Oh, hell yeah. Because the gallant introduction. Hello.
Oh,
and
that
we
part,
approach the threesome, who is now a fivesome.
Yes.
Fivesome. And the fivesome looks amazing because they're all dressed similar. They're all in black and white with wings on their backs.
Feathers and wings and masks.
They look
shirtless.
Oh, yeah. Elegant. Right out of heaven. Sexy heaven. I mean, ugh. And so immediately I'm like, oh my God, I have to walk up to, it's our friends. Woohoo. And so I walk up to them, and as soon as I walk up, Mr. Gallant goes, he takes my hand, my hand's down by my side, and I have a long purple glove on my arm.
Right.
He takes my arm.
Just grab it.
Yeah. He takes my hand, he lifts it up, and he kisses the back of my hand. I just melted. I literally felt my stomach flip, and I went, okay, we gotta fuck. Yeah, that was, boom. That was
super sexy.
Done. Yeah, that was and then shortly out thereafter, 30 seconds later, a minute, Ed's like, hey, we need to make this happen. I'm like, yes, Ed.
And we did.
We did. Which also turned me on. And then I really wanted to fuck. So we had to go.
It was a very sexy build up from the previous night to this night. And then, of course, the kiss on the glove, which was...
Good grief. Those people are
super sexy.
Super sexy. So we go to their room.
Yeah, because we danced for a little while. We had a good time.
Yeah.
But eventually, we, of course, went to their room.
Yes. The good stuff. So we go to the room, and they were an interesting couple. They had good friends there. At the time, I thought they were a dedicated foursome, but they're not. But they just have they play
regularly.
They play regularly with a couple that they've known for a long time that they're very close with.
Right.
And so they schedule play dates on a regular basis, and they tend to travel together. So they were all there together. I think they may have been sharing a room or adjoining rooms. And then there was one other single guy that was a good friend of theirs too, that had come down to play with everyone. And so the five of them were there, and it was us. And then was somebody else there too in that room? Did we drag other people with us?
There were a couple other people in the room at the time.
Yeah.
Because I remember one of them being in costume, and so there was like an extra single female, and I think there were a couple other people, and I think our pocket friends may have also been in the room at the time too.
Okay, cool.
So
yeah, so
it was a decent
good
crowd.
About 12, 14 people in there. Yeah. It was nice. It was a nice crowd. And then at some point, so we're playing. I'm playing with the mister, which was nice. He has a very nice ass. It's very firm, and I really liked grabbing it. So that was really fun. And just grabbing him, and when a guy is just like a tree, you could just like crawl all over and just like,
yes,
and Mr. Mixed Nuts is like that too. You just like
kind of climb on him.
You climb on him. That's what I like. You just climb all over him. And so that was a lot of fun. And there was some sort of single guy debacle going on in the background, which I was a little oblivious to because I'm having a good time on the bed.
A good time. The hosts took care of their room and dealt with all that stuff, which was great.
It was it wasn't earth shattering or anything like that. It was had a conversation, and then he left, and
there you go.
And that was that. So it was really nice that they all were able to just manage that in such a graceful way.
Yeah. And
nobody's feelings were hurt, or if they were, they got repaired later, and all was good.
Yeah. And so we ended up playing with this fivesome for a little while. The singles that had been in there, they played for a little bit, and then they moved on. They had other parties that they wanted to go to, but we ended up switching and playing in different groups with different people, and so the two of us and the five of them ended up intermingling and playing.
And I got to play with the other woman of their good friends.
Yes.
I got to play with her. I went down on her. She was fun.
She was very excited.
She was very excited. She's very beautiful. Her and her husband are so passionate. I want to talk about that because the passion between her and her husband and the connection was so intense that it gets you off. Like it's exciting. Like you can feed off of that.
Right.
It was so sweet and sexy and passionate and all at the same time. It was incredible.
It's very energizing to watch a sexy couple that just have a good dynamic.
Oh yeah.
And how they play off of each other. And the whole room was like that.
Yeah.
We were all kind of into our own partners, but we were obviously into the room.
Oh my gosh.
Well.
Wait, we forgot about how it started. So remember the woman from the Red Woman?
Yes.
We'll call her the Red Woman. How she said, she started the party. She's like,
oh, right.
What'd she say?
She's like, is there anything that's on your bucket list, something that you've never done before?
She's like, let's try something new. Yes.
So we ended up doing DP with her. So her husband and I double penetrated her.
Yes. Okay. So here I am. My favorite spot to view is right between the man's legs from underneath, because I love seeing,
the full-on penetration.
Yes, the vulva, the lips, everything wrapping around the shaft of the penis. I love that view. So here I am. I'm down there like a video photographer or something without a camera, and I'm just taking it all in. I'm just trying to capture it into my memory forever. And it's sealed in there. I could still see it.
So he's on the bottom, she's in the middle, and I'm on top.
But what I didn't know until the next day, probably because the room was a little dim, was that both of your dicks were in her vagina. I thought one was in her butt and one was in her vagina, but no.
It was DVP.
Yes. So then I was like, what? So, here you are the next day, you're recounting all this stuff with your partner, and you go.
You're like, what?
What? How did I miss that?
I was right there.
And then of course I had to ask Ed. I was like, well, how was that? Your dick was touching another dick. Well, what did you think? And you said, oh.
It was in her vagina.
Exactly. I was like,
there was a vagina involved. That's pretty much all I was concerned about.
So I was like super shocked and like super excited, because I thought, oh my God, we had never talked about this before. This was super cool. These are the things that happen that you just don't know are going to happen in the moment. You don't know if you're going to be okay with it. You don't plan for it. You're just like, it happened. Wow, that was pretty fucking cool. Sure, I'll do that again.
It wasn't on anybody's agenda for the night.
No.
There wasn't a menu item that offered that. It just happened.
It's so great. I was like, oh my God. I love those moments, because those are the things
you just can't plan for it, which is
fun.
It just happens.
It's fun,
so
and it's spontaneous.
Yeah.
I like the fun and the energy of those moments when you have those connections
and everybody
with people.
had a good time.
Yeah, and consequently, we ended up playing till like 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, we were up.
My gosh.
Way crazy late, and
had great conversations. Awesome. Shared really deep personal things about our lives.
We fucked for a long time, and then after that, we just talked for at least an hour. At least an hour.
Rehydrated, got our energy back.
Yeah.
We thought maybe we'd go at it again, but then we realized, oh, the sun's going to come up. We should probably go to bed.
Exactly.
It was just, it was amazing. It's those times where you've got that journey, the validation, the exploration, and the courage and the strength and the bravery, and it's all super inspiring.
Right. Yeah. We learned a lot about them. We had a really good time with them, and we've connected with them again, and we plan on connecting with them again in the future, because
absolutely
they're
fun and comfortable people.
Beautiful they're
people.
Super sexy, and we get along with them really
so good. Easy to be around. So easy. It's crazy. I love it.
And this is really what we enjoy about swinging, and that's that just uninhibited, naked, raw, real people. Nobody's judging you. It's not, there's no preconceptions. There's no agenda. People are just genuinely enjoying your company.
Yeah.
And it's fucking hot. It's great.
And what I remember too the most about Mr. Red is that he was so present. Yeah. If he was high, I didn't notice it. I don't think he was, because he was so present and so relaxed. So it just made me so comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there just wasn't anything, there were no weird vibes, nothing icky, nothing strange. It was really comfortable. It was just so much fun. So relaxing, so exciting.
Yeah.
I know. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm still gushing, but we have to end and wrap up this episode. Would you like to wrap it up?
Sure. So don't let the one-off incidents ruin swinging for you. The hair pulling, the random bad bad behavior on people, because you can learn from those incidents and you can find a way to continue to enjoy the rest of the community.
Right.
You can build those relationships and you can find people that you really connect with. There are so many pluses to the lifestyle, whether you swap partners or you don't.
Exactly. You don't even have to soft swap with anyone. You just hang out with the sexy energy of the swinger community. With that,
we'll leave this episode.
The Swinger University needs your help. If you like our podcast, let the world know, or at least tell a fellow swinger or two. Not only will you be helping us, you'll be helping your fellow swing lifestylers. Please rate and review us on Apple, Google, and Amazon podcasts. You can share your favorite episodes on social media. We're at TikTok at Swinger University, Twitter and Instagram at SwingUPodcast. Email us at swingeruniversity@gmail.com and visit our website at swingeruniversity.com, where you can find more information as well as visit our affiliates page to get a free 30-day membership at Cassidy.com. Thank you for listening to Swinger University, your horizontal enrichment podcast.